I feel like some people, and I can definitely put myself in this category because I've been super guilty of it, didn't pick good guys or good men, like, because like we're normalizing trauma. Like we think that to be in love is like exciting and should be danger, and it's like we think that all of these things are normal. When you meet a nice guy where it's just like it's easy, it's like, oh well, I don't trust it because I don't know what that is.
Okay, tell me, why do y'all need a lift?
The lift is bull. It changes. It changes. So for example, what you wanted at 18 is not going to be the same thing you want at 25.
Welcome to Man's True Nature, a channel developed and dedicated to helping both man and woman understand who brothers are and why we do the things we do. On this channel, you'll come to understand how and why we love. And I hope to dispel some of the myths about the black man that have affected your opinion of a black man. Now don't get it twisted, the purpose of this channel is not to put anyone down. But in order to make bonds stronger and more pleasurable, there needs to be understanding. Now, in this first episode, we're going to talk about man's physicality, which will help you to understand how to keep a man loyal and passionate about you. But two things before we get started. Some of you might be wondering, why did I say why brothers do what we do when the channel is called Man's True Nature? Well, the channel is called Man's True Nature because as one thing affects one man, it affects all men in some kind of way. But there are things that have been specifically targeted toward the black race that most people won't even notice unless you're black. Curious? Well, keep watching and you'll come to understand how we've all been programmed to feel some kind of way about men in general, but specifically very negatively about brothers.
I finally proved to myself and to you and to my family who loves me that I didn't need a thing from you.
Second thing, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and smash the subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you'll know when I drop the next one. So as I said, in this video, we're going to talk about man's physicality. And in that, how do women know who men are? And what are they looking for? Let's dive in.
What do you find attractive in a man?
Probably humour.
Humour?
Yeah, humour, yeah. And I like quite a sporty man, yeah.
That's why I stopped you, because you two were like walking up, you were having fun, you were laughing. So that's, you want guys that sort of compliment that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What do I look for? Intelligence, wit.
You've got a shopping list.
I've got a shopping list. And just, I mean, if they look good, that's definitely a bonus.
But are looks important?
Yeah, you've got to find somebody attractive.
Now you see, right from the start, a difference between man and woman. He had to remind her or question whether she needed to be attracted physically. But her friend keeps it real for both of them.
Physically, as well as mentally. But it is the vibe. Like, they don't have to be classically good looking. They can just have a vibe.
Women will oftentimes become physically attracted through emotional connection. But what's funny is that many women don't even realize this until they're lucky enough to find somebody that they have that connection with, and he just by chance doesn't look like a Ken doll. And most men don't believe that this can happen because they work in the reverse way. They need to be physically attracted to a girl in order to get that connection.
It's so true. But it's not just with women. The things men like in life are the things we see both visually and mentally. Simple as it is, it's the reason we love football.
Men are visual. This is how they are wired. They are not wired to be friend-zoned or to fall in love with your personality.
Oh man, she was on point at first until she said personality. And there she couldn't be more wrong. Men are always going to be physical first. But it is a woman's personality and her demeanor, more importantly her demeanor, that takes us from just lusting for her to liking her. I found this article about what black men and women want in a mate. It got me to thinking of how in our early 20s, most of us had dreams and expectations of what we wanted in a relationship. But life's experiences changes damn near every perspective we thought was so important. Here's an example. Beautiful and open-minded is always an important trait to men. But beautiful goes from being the 6th most mentioned trait to men in their 20s to the 8th most mentioned trait to men in their 30s.
The lift is bull. It changes. It changes. So for example, what you wanted at 18 is not going to be the same thing you want at 25. So what so many people do is they drink the happiness Kool-Aid, right? And what the happiness Kool-Aid is like, oh, society tells me I need these things in order to be happy. right? So you just put a bunch of things on your list that you think are going to make you happy until you experience those things and you realize, oh snap, that don't even make me happy.
Now that's because our needs, our desires, and our conditions of satisfaction changes with age.
My definition of a good guy has changed over the years. A good guy for me used to mean that he had money, that he had a certain like social standing, but I found that didn't mean that they were really good people.
Here's a woman who's discovered that the so-called high-value man isn't always a good man. Now, I've worked with these so-called high-value men most of my adult life, and I've discovered that any man that needs to make money in order to feel worthy will always put that money before any and everything else, including his woman. And I'll explain more on that later.
So now for me, a good guy is someone that's kind, that's a hard worker, that doesn't have serious problems with honesty.
She says these are the traits of a good man. But back in the day, they were simply the traits of a man. And if you didn't possess these traits, you weren't a man. It was that simple. Unfortunately, even the notion of a man, a classic man, have all been but wiped out. See, a man like this is no longer celebrated, talked about, or even wanted, especially if his birthday suit comes in any shade of brown. Which means for a lot of women these days, a man is only a good man if he's a yes man. And most men, brothers in particular, have discovered that these traits, the traits of a classic man, are no longer valued. So you can be her lover, but you can't be her man. Unfortunately, you can be programmed to believe that the following are your only choices.
Zachary, somebody burned down my she shed.
Nobody burned down the she shed, Cheryl. She shed was struck by lightning.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
She shed? Mm-hmm.
Here's your first choice.
That's wonderful news.
And your second choice. If all our energy is focused on hating and killing each other, there's no energy left to focus on moving forward, unless you move forward without us. And that's why this next example is the worst example of them all.
I'm your biological son. 36 years ago, you left me at the front door of a fire station. Don't worry, I'm not here because I want anything from you. I was raised by two incredible parents. I came here today so I could look you in the eye, say that to you, and then get back in my fancy-ass car and finally prove to myself and to you and to my family who loves me that I didn't need a thing from you, even after I knew who you were.
And this right here is the problem. And it's the reason I refuse to watch this show. Because they really needed to put someone on the screen to say, hey, black man, you abandoned your child. But it's cool, because I need you anyway. And though these aren't the only reasons, it's no coincidence sisters believe they don't need us. Because images like these make it literally embarrassing for an upcoming woman to want to be with us. This is why we need to bring back images and examples like this.
You want my own follow-on?
I feel like for me, those qualities now, you can find them anywhere, not just in the church or in school, because I used to associate the good guy with the guy who's in church, the guy who's in the library all the time. Some of these street dudes, they be good guys. They'll take care of you. They'll care about you. They'll motivate you. They'll support you.
I want you to make it too big, but not this way. Not this way.
Today, a woman will more often than not walk right by this man or this man.
You're right, Slender. Yeah. You take good care of your mother, okay? You're the man of the house.
Okay. I'm so proud of you.
Rarely, if ever, can you see the quality of a man by just looking at him.
So now for me, a good guy is someone that's kind, that's a hard worker, that doesn't have serious problems with honesty.
So maybe in order to pick a good man or appreciate that classic brother you already have, you should know a few things about him. For starters, you should know that though you want him to enjoy the things you like, his interests might look very different from yours. From the cars that excite him to the kinds of women he likes. What kinds of movies does he like? Does he have any hobbies? Can he carry an intelligent conversation with you? And lastly, you should know that as men, we are driven by two things: our programming and our physicality. This is what makes us visual, because what we see visually and mentally will either inspire us to act or discourage us from acting. What we see is what dictates whether we move in for that first kiss or not. You see, it's the confidence in our physicality that allows us to pursue the things we want and do the things we do. It's the source of all our desires, which are developed way before we're even conscious of what's happening. So when we see something as wonderful as this, 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 or this, what we feel in that moment is out of our control because we've already been programmed and now we're driven by it. I mean, with all the criticism a man receives for wanting a woman for her looks or staring at her body, why would we continually put ourselves in a position to be ridiculed again and again if we could help it? Trust me when I tell you, if any man could stop himself from finding a walk like that amazing, he would. If I could see a woman move like that and not think, oh my God, I would. But when I see a woman I find attractive, in that instant, I see amazing possibilities. And like I said earlier, we're not this way about women only. Everything I want to do those things because I can see a positive outcome. I want to do those things because I believe in the end, I'm going to be happy, even proud of myself. This is what motivates a man. Now, a woman might be saying, why would I want that? Well, I'm going to tell you why, because the answer is simple. I believe while insecurity and society push a woman toward a bad boy, a yes man, and that so-called high-value man, instinctively, a woman craves a classic man.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
And if such a woman is brave enough to have one, this is how easy it is to happily keep one. I've already shared with you who men are and what we need, and it really doesn't get any easier or simpler than that. Be a physical friend to us as well. What does that mean? Don't let the only physical thing we enjoy with you be sex. Those hobbies and physical things you've learned we like to do them with us and try to have a good time. This is how men bond because we're physical first, remember? Yes, we love a good conversation. It's wonderful to stimulate our thinking, but don't get it twisted. We're not bonding because of it. We're just not wired that way. This is why most guys are solitary creatures, because we don't get the chance to be physical with anybody, so we don't get the chance to bond with anybody. It's also the reason why cops stay cops, why teammates hang out with each other, why men in the military stay in the military. And believe it or not, it's the reason men stray. When being physical is no longer pleasurable or is not happening at all, it doesn't mean we don't still need it. These are all physical things that allow men to bond. So be our physical friend as well. So what do you think of the video, Not My Moves? Worthy of your like now? How about your subscription? Can you see how easy it could be if we men got to really be that man? A gentle man.
Hey, look at me! I see you. I see you. I see you.
That's right. If you find a classic man, he'll never let you fall. Now, obviously, there's a part 2 to this video, so be on the lookout. And please, leave me a comment or question, because I'd love to know your thoughts. And hopefully, you want to know more about man's true nature.